Deep in the archives of medieval England lies a mystery that has captivated imaginations for centuries. Robin Hood, the legendary outlaw who stole from the rich and gave to the poor, exists somewhere between myth and reality. But the true story is far more complex than the tales we've come to know. The earliest mentions of Robin Hood appear not in grand historical records, but in simple ballads sung in taverns and village squares during the 1300s. These stories paint a different picture than the noble hero we know today. The original Robin was no displaced nobleman, but a yeoman, a common free man who lived by his bow. The setting itself tells us much about the real story. While modern tales place Robin in the time of Richard the Lionheart, the earliest ballads emerge from the tumultuous period of the 1320s, when England was rife with social unrest. Deep in the archives of medieval England lies a mystery that has captivated imaginations for centuries. Common people faced crushing taxation, corrupt officials, and harsh forest laws that made hunting for food a capital crime. And perhaps most surprising is that the real Robin Hood didn't primarily target the wealthy nobility. The ballads tell of an outlaw who focused his attention on corrupt church officials and dishonest tax collectors, those who directly oppressed the common people. His legendary home, Sherwood Forest, was actually one of many royal forests where outlaws sought refuge from authorities. The familiar characters we know today, Little John, Friar Tuck, Maid Marian, didn't appear in the original tales. They were added centuries later as the legend grew and transformed. Maid Marian, in particular, doesn't enter the story until the 1500s, emerging from separate May Day celebrations that eventually merged with the Robin Hood mythology. Historical records show numerous outlaws adopting the name Robin Hood throughout medieval England. It became a title of sorts, claimed by those who stood against authority. Court records from the period list multiple criminals using the name, suggesting it had become a symbol of resistance against oppressive governance. The transformation of Robin Hood from a rough-hewn outlaw to a noble hero reflects changing social attitudes over centuries. Victorian writers reimagined him as a displaced nobleman, adding a veneer of aristocratic legitimacy to his rebellion. Yet this sanitized version loses sight of what made the original tale so powerful: the story of common people fighting against systemic injustice. Today, historians believe the Robin Hood legend likely grew from a combination of actual events, social tensions, and the universal human desire for justice in an unjust world. While we may never know if a single historical Robin Hood existed, the endurance of his story tells us something far more significant about human nature and our eternal struggle against oppression. Like the ancient forests where his legend was born, the real Robin Hood remains elusive, hidden in the shadows of history. But perhaps that's exactly where he belongs, not as a single historical figure, but as an enduring symbol of resistance and hope, reminding us that the fight for justice takes many forms across time.